Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Lucas Marino. I'm here with the lovely Honorée Quarter. How are you, Miss Honorée?
Fabulous. Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes, and we are pretty excited to talk about a few like really big things in our world right now. And before we jump into those, I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of tell people who you are and what you do.
Thank you for that. I am what am I? That's a great question. Well, I started as a strategic book coach and I started building some income streams out of that. So I consider myself someone who helps people to write, publish, and monetize their books, very simply said.
Yes, yes, you do. And you do all of that extremely well.
Thank you. Thank you. Checks in the mail.
Yeah, well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And so are you, where do you usually serve these clients? Like, do they find you through referrals? Like, how do you normally like encounter these people?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. So who I serve are entrepreneurs and business owners who want to, generally speaking, they want to write and publish a book and they don't think about the monetization piece because they don't think that there's money associated with making books. Just last night I was at a meeting and someone said, well, there's not really any money in books, is there? And I was like, yeah, there's money in books.
You do it right.
If you do it right. Well, and there's a few components to that, which we will get into, I'm sure, in a future video. But I serve people who want to write, publish, and monetize their books. And so how I serve them is finding out where their book fits into their business, what they want the book to do for themselves and for other people. And then I help them to craft the book that will then deliver on those results and teach them how to market and monetize their book.
And it's a pretty amazing thing. I underestimated what that meant until I had a chance to, get a little insight from you over the last year about what is involved in that process. And it really opened my eyes to, the potential that a book has for your business and for your brand and everything, because there's so much more to it than I think most people would assume, because we don't normally dissect a book through that lens. And when you see it and you experience it without noticing it, it's almost magical, right? It's like, that's kind of the magic.
Yes. And I backed into it for the first little while, writing and publishing books. And then like, well, how am I going to sell this kid? How am I going to get it out there? How am I going to get a return on that investment? And so I figured those things out through bumps and bruises and scrapes and some success along the way. And so you asked me how people find me. They find me now through my books, or they find me through referral, or they will see a video like this one, whether it's an interview on a podcast or on a summit or something like that. Or I've worked with someone and they'll say, if you really want to do this in a way that's effective, because I don't really do good, bad, right, or wrong. I do effective or ineffective. And so I'm always looking for the most effective path, like water, right? Like what path would water take to get where it wants to go? And that's what I really do. And so that's how people find me is through interviews and books and things like that.
I mean, that's how I found you. I'm trying to remember how I got my hands on You Must Write a Book, but I'm almost certain it was through either a podcast or a summit session. But somehow I heard you speak about what you do, and then you mentioned your book. And I went and picked up that book, and immediately what you were just talking about in the opening about how you serve your clients and how you integrate the book with the business and everything, it was all like right there. And I didn't identify it that way initially. I just thought, this is brilliant to put this book together like this.
Oh, thank you.
Right. And then I was like, oh, that's like a thing.
Oh, wait.
Of course it's on purpose, right? Yeah. I just had no idea because I wasn't aware at that point. Pretty cool.
Yes. So then we have had the in my world, the grace, right? You are just a gift of grace to work together. Well, I mean, I find me someone who doesn't love you and I'll fix them. I'll fix them up right away. So we've had the gift of working with each other. And so please do tell people who you serve and how you serve them. Who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Luke, and I like long walks on the beach and candlelit dinners.
And brisket.
Yeah. I am Mostly working with other entrepreneurs who want to launch and sustain training products, training businesses. So if you're, and ironically, almost, I work with a lot of authors that have a book and then they want to create a course because they're a subject matter expert. And 100% disclosure, they are amazing clients because they've already been through the process of writing a book, right? Which is not to take away from other types of clients, but they've been through a very similar process. If
Right.
they've done the book, like you said, in effective and an efficient way, they
Yeah.
know what that creative process is like, and they know all the hard work that goes into creating that product. And the courses are very much like a parallel, similar thing. So usually that's what ends up happening is someone will contact me and say, hey, I've either already have this coaching program, or I have this book, or I have this amazing suite of like products or intellectual property, and I want to teach people with it. And they're trying to figure out how to make that work with a business, how to monetize it, how to create it. And so a lot of it's just the technical barriers of creating a course and then integrating it into their business.
Awesome. So you help individuals like me, including me, to create courses. And it's a brilliant piece of that process. You took building $1 million book business, which is a course. And
Yes.
in that course, I talked about courses, which I did, I think, very
Your courses are great.
duct tape and coat hanger
Yeah, but they're great.
kind of way. Thank you. But I did it more on intuition and understanding the process of putting content together than I did understanding how courses have come together. So getting to be in your orbit has been very helpful because I have learned just little nuancy things that make all the difference. Right? Like it's just like a book. If I pick up a book, and I have one right here and I'm not going to hold it up, but it's a self-published book that these two ladies did many years ago. And it's lovely. And it's very self-published looking and feeling and reading, right? But if I had 10 minutes with them, I could say, here are 5 things you could do to make your book next level. That's what you do for people with courses, is you can just throw up a course just like you can throw up a book. But if you have a process,
Yes,
and an expert with you, it can be more better.
right. And I think you're going to find in my world, just like yours, there's a whole, so like when I teach project management, there's a product scope and there's a project scope. And a lot of times these people are experts at the product, but they don't know how to get the project over the line. They need the project manager. They need the accountability. They
Right?
need the
Yeah.
technical guidance, but they also need someone to be like, this is where we're supposed to be right now. This is what we're supposed to be doing next. They need that like organization, that guidance, that assistance. And I think people like us, we kind of, we offer that in spades as almost like something that people sometimes don't even know they're looking for. And then when they get it, they're like, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. I know I experienced that the first time I hired a sales coach, and
Right.
Lisbeth was like amazing with helping me figure out like, oh, I didn't realize all the pieces I was missing, or
Right.
what order I was supposed to be doing certain things. I was so backwards in so many things I was doing. And
All of us are that in some area, and it's sometimes it's just what you don't know that you don't know. I
yeah,
have so many different friends and angels that have come into my life, and they've been like, hey, Honorée, like, I don't know which school you went to, but it was the wrong one. So let me help you out. And that's so many different areas. Having a good guide
yes,
is
yeah,
really helpful.
yeah. And I think that's a lot of what we can offer our individual clients on both sides of the fence. Is like, you just have that trusted agent there to kind of guide you through those things too. And a little biased here because I've been a client of yours in many ways. I found you through your book, but then I went into your courses, and then that's where I actually got to meet you. Which, hey, bonus for people that haven't taken an Honorée course, like you get to meet her. So
Right.
that was
But
huge.
also too, right? Like that, I thought you were going to say bonus, like make sure if you do a course, connect with your students.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going to say,
Yeah.
is because that's where the real,
Yeah.
that's where that extra piece is. Like you can read a book and not meet the author and get a ton of value. You can take a course or see someone speak or have a consultant, but it's that real time,
Yes.
real connection that actually moves the needle in the relationship and makes the difference.
Yes.
That's what you were going to say, is make sure you talk to your students, because
Well, yeah,
that's something that I've always done.
yes. And you know, when you take that approach, you know, and this is from whether it's a coaching program or a course development and delivery program or a approach, when you do that, you create that that bridge to that person that now shows them the way to the rest of you, right? So like I didn't, and I'll share a little personal anecdote. So I'm in Honorée's mastermind, right? The Empire Builders Mastermind, which I'm going to make her talk about in a minute. And I was first saw that program. I didn't think it was right for me. I didn't think I was ready for that. I didn't think it was the right thing for me. And then once I got to talk with Honorée and we got to know each other through the course, I realized this is actually the right time, the right thing. And I would have never had that awareness had I not actually had a chance to interact with you. So from a client's perspective, it was valuable for me to have that relationship with an instructor, because it led to more value in my own business and my own life, not just because of the course, but because I got to know a bit more about your business and what you provide, and eyes open, right?
Yes. Well, it's the puppy dog clothes, right? It's like, just take him home for 3 days, then bring him back. I dare you.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you to take him.
Go ahead. Bring the little puppy back in 3 days, right? No, it's not going to happen.
No. And I I would love if you could talk a little bit about what the Empire's Builders Mastermind is, because I think that for me, it was a little eye-opening when you explained it to me the first time. It resonated with me so clearly, and it was immediately like everything clicked. So I think that would be cool.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So the Empire Builders Mastermind is designed and executed for people who have a business and they have a book and they want to create more income streams from their business, for their business, from their book, from their expertise and their education. And so as someone who has built, now I'm knocking on the door of 12.5 6 and 7 figure income streams. And I don't say that to impress anybody, right? Because nobody cares.
It's just a
how
little
much
mind
money I
blowing.
make. But you care if you're talking to someone who has experience and can help guide you through that process. So I can say, if you want a 6-figure course income stream, here are things to consider, because I've done that. And so I don't really talk about income streams until I've made 6 figures in a year or 7 figures in a year from an income stream, because I think there are a lot of people who do something 1 or 2 times and then they go, I'm going to teach other people how to do it. And they haven't, they haven't had that car crash, right? Like they don't have enough experience. They haven't been to the dance as many times. I'm trying to use a good analogy here, but you understand what I'm saying? Like they just aren't teaching from a place of experience. They're teaching from a place of a little tiny bit of experience and a whole lot of maybe this could work at some point. So I formed the Empire Builders. The first year was 2019, because I was at an event and the underlying topic was masterminds. And I had been in several of them, and some of them were weekend long or for a couple of years or for a few months or whatever. And I had taken away, and I knew a lot of people who were in masterminds, and they would say, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. And so the underlying theme was masterminds, and someone who had been a longtime reader of mine, she called herself a super fan. So she had read all of my books, was on my advanced reader team, and she was at that event. And she said, if you had a mastermind, I'd sign up for it. And I was like, well, whatever for? What are we masterminding about? And she said, you have an empire and I want one. And I just would want someone to take me by the hand and help me to do that process. And so long story short, or long story long, depending on how you feel about me still talking, I decided to launch the Empire Builders Mastermind with the idea in mind that everybody wants a 7-figure empire that they own, that does not own them. So you don't want another job. You don't want to create, more handcuffs, right? If you have a job, you don't want to create handcuffs. You want to have the ability to take time off and to have time freedom and financial freedom, right? Those are the freedoms that we want.
Mhm.
And so if you could have that, that was the impetus behind me forming Empire Builders. And so now we're going into year 5, and I can't help everybody, but I can help this small group of people to write, publish, and monetize their books, or create income streams, not necessarily from a book, but books are usually one of the best ways to differentiate yourself as the expert in your field. So why not have a book in addition to all the other income streams? So that's
Right.
what the EBM is.
And I've loved it. I mean, it's been fantastic. It exceeded my expectations, even though um, I wasn't really sure what to expect because I hadn't really been in a program like that. And I think that was a really important like thing to acknowledge in the beginning. I knew that it was going to be a new experience, and it was great because of that. It was exciting, and it was full of, and still is full of value that I didn't necessarily expect, which isn't, that's a great thing. I mean, imagine if you just woke up and you met just the things that you thought you would, and you never
Right.
exceeded any of that,
Right.
right? You'd be like, I'm happy, but I'm not overwhelmed with joy. And to me, it was the
Right.
exact, it went beyond that. So
Right.
the relationships, the way you build your community, the way you've been so proactive about mentoring. And it's also been a very great point of accountability. I know I've got to, come to that meeting with some good news, because we're all going to be sharing our good news, and it motivates me to stay on top of the game so I can do that. So it's been fantastic.
Right. Well, I've tried to thank you. I appreciate that so much. It's my favorite thing. It's one of my favorite things that I get to do. And I took, a page out of people's playbooks that were doing things that I thought were really cool. And then I kind of crossed off things that I thought, ugh, here's what I'm hearing people don't like. And so I'm not going to do those things. And I always try to make it interesting and fun, and the reason we're there is to create new streams of income. And I'm a player coach, so I don't just go, oh, I'm just sitting on top of my pile of money watching all of you build your empires, right? I'm still in the game. I'm still interested to see, how many income streams can I create, and how many do I like and how many do I not like, and sussing all of that out and then share everyone in the group. It's just really fun.
And you practice what you preach. I mean, you're just saying, you like to be a player coach. I mean, even this year we've launched the Empire Builders Masterclass. Is a perfect example of that. Like, you could have not done that. You could have just been like, I'm good. I got all the good stuff going on. I'm happy. But anytime there was something great there, you're like, yes, that's let's do that, because you're in it. You're serious. You do what you say.
Yes. And I also think that, let's now talk about the masterclass, the EBMc, which is what we call the masterclass. And a lot of people are familiar with masterclass because during the pandemic, masterclass became the thing that everyone bought so they could sit and watch, the advice of experts. And so when you came to me with the idea for the EBMc, it made perfect sense, if only because the EBMc is a place for people to do one-stop shopping if they want to learn about building an empire with, a different idea in mind. So there's book builders and course builders and this builders and that builders, right? And so people can come in and find the course or courses that work best for them, that are all done by the folks who are in EBM and who have been in EBM.
Right.
Because we're all building income streams, or have built income streams in this ecosystem. And so it completely made sense to me that it was a place for the person coming who wanted the information, who was hungry for the information and wanted great information from great people who actually know what they're talking about, who are coming from experience, right? And then also for the folks in EBM to be able to recommend their peers in the group in a way that is I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know that there's a word to describe it. Maybe beautiful, maybe perfect timing, like whatever.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it, but that's my perspective on the EBMc.
Yeah. I mean, I love the whole premise of being an entrepreneur that wants to, like you're seeking that type of information, and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about whether these people have been vetted, if they're the right people to learn from. That process was baked into this before EBMc was even created. You've curated this group of
Yep.
professionals and chosen these people, and then the fact that you've invited them to take part in EBMc is a testament to the fact that over time, you've reinforced your belief in those people, and they've actually grown, and we've all succeeded together. And now people can come into the group that maybe aren't a part of that network, and they can learn from each of these people. And it's amazing how many different points it touches. I mean, you had mentioned books and courses, and we've got lifestyle, mindset. I mean, I didn't realize how important mindset was for me as an entrepreneur until I started working with you and the people at EBM. I was like, this is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have the opportunity to come to the Empire Builders Masterclass and gain that type of exposure and education right there in one spot, so you don't have to jump around and shop in 5 different places to find experts. They're all right there. And I think the other part of it is, you would think that people that have a platform like this would be not sharing openly a lot of things, but we are absolutely doing just that. All the podcasts for each of these people are listed, YouTube channels, free articles. Like, we're just giving, all of this stuff out there because we really want to help people. And it's not just about like, standing up a company and making money. It's about helping other entrepreneurs get where they need to be. And it's just such a wonderful project. And I love how it's just gonna keep getting better, right? It's like just growing more and more.
We're going to look back on this video, I think, years from now. And I'm going to look back and go, what were you thinking with the hair? I'm sure, right? Today, I feel pretty good about it, but 10 years from now, I might be like, what was that you were doing?
The hair looks great.
Right? But no, we're going to look back and just think we didn't even know how good it was going to be. Like, we have an idea in mind of what's going to happen, but I don't think we truly know. But I think the thing that you didn't say is that we're doing well from doing good.
Yes.
I truly love the EBM, the Empire Builders Mastermind, and I now love this Masterclass opportunity because it is allowing us to impact positively the lives of more people, because they are going to get more than they pay for, right? Don't you love it when you pay for something and then you go, I got my value in the first 15 seconds, and I will just do that right here with your course, Learn Thinkific, that I bought because Thinkific is my platform. Thinkific is your area of expertise, right? That's your platform that you have an alliance with. And so rather than just making you my 411, like, oh, Thinkific 411, Lucas's phone. Let me just send him a Voxer message, like, how about I educate myself, right? And in the very first long video, you were showing some things. The one that stands out right now is have a live component in your course by connecting Thinkific to Zoom. And I went, so I was able to pause the video, because I'm a right now kind of gal, right? Anyone who knows me is going to say, Honorée would say, when is right now the time to do it, right? So pause the video, go into the course I was working on, create, follow the buttons, create the Zoom link, boom, and there it is. And so, like, real time, super valuable, got my value out of that one piece of information. And I wasn't even really, I think, 2/3 of the way through the video. And now I'm like, I got to finish the rest of the course. Like, what do my courses not have that they could have that would benefit the user, that's going to help them have that same takeaway? So all of that in one beautiful package. It's like you have access to courses and information and people who are providing great information at a price you will be thrilled to have paid, not money you will resent spending.
Right.
And that allows us to impact more lives in a bigger and better way. So that's why I'm so thrilled and excited about the EBMc. It's EBM, next level. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words about the course. I mean, it was the funny thing is, and I hope people watching or listening to this will go, oh, it even happens to people that do this for a living. You know, I had this idea for this course and I said, well, maybe I won't. You know, who really wants to sit through like learning Thinkific? And then I had clients that were like, man, I just wish I knew how to use this system.
Yeah.
You know, like I gotta hurry up and put this thing out there. So I appreciate that. But you know, I felt the same way taking your courses on, because like I'm not an author by like main profession,
Education, right?
right? Yeah, and you know, I'm an engineer by education, so for me to learn like what it was going to take to produce and publish a professional book, the publishing PhD class was like everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all right here. And it was, you know, just it's just such a fantastic way to learn how you're really supposed to do this the right way. Like, I don't care if you're writing a children's book, a fiction book, a nonfiction book. There's so much to learn in that course about the proper way to self-publish a book. And it's just mind-blowing. And then you took it to the next level with the marketing aspects. And it's funny because I was like, oh, wait, how does this fit into my business? And then there's the build your $1 million book business course. And I'm like, yes, like that's like the natural next progression for me. So I went through that course and I'm like, this is fantastic. But then, you know, you learn all these great things and you've got all these great resources. And it's not like they're taken away from me the next day because we provide this, you know, forever access to these courses. I was in a position where after I took your course, I was like, I got like halfway through the course and I was just an overload, like on all the amazing stuff in there. And I'm like, thank God I have this for a long time because I'm going to need this every time I do a book. I'm just going to go through this course every time.
Yeah. I used to teach the course live and I would have students come and take it 5, 6, 7 times in a row. I would do 8 sessions live. And then finally someone said, why don't you make this so it's on demand? It's a multi-learning platform. People can access it whenever they want. And they don't have to wonder where in that 90 minutes you talked about this 5 minutes worth of information that people needed, which is why I went to a blended learning model.
Wow.
But I think there's so many great things in what you just said. Is I teach my courses from a place of experience, and so I can just rattle off the answer. You taught Learn Thinkific from a place of knowledge and experience, and so you just rattled through those videos, and I was thinking to myself, and still think to myself, how many functions of different apps and products do we not use because we don't know the functionality exists? It's like when I just went to the Apple store, the guy pulls out his phone and he's like, boop, 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 boop. And it was like, wait, what'd you just do? That was cool. I didn't know the phone did that. And he said, you know, there's so many things that your phone can do. There's so many things that your Thinkific app can do. There's so many things that your book can do that if you don't know, you just don't know what you don't know, and you're missing out. You're missing out on impact. You're missing out on income. Yeah. Right. And those two things alone are game changers.
There's a tremendous amount of value sitting in all these things that you're paying for, right? You know, you have to pay to produce that book. You have to pay to have a course learning management system. And if you don't really know how to extract all the value out of those products because you never really learned all their functions, you're going to be in a pinch. So I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, that's a huge benefit to a user. And that's why I feel like the training programs are such a great way to serve other people, right? Like you're able to show them a world that ordinarily would be kind of out of reach if they didn't have that access, because it could be a time restriction. Like for me to meet up with Honorée and go through her class, it would have been really difficult for me to have to do that in like Nashville, right? If like I was going to be on site somewhere or in Richmond or something like that, and you have to like stop life for a week. And the on-demand platform with the live Q&A like is just like the best of both worlds for that. So
LMSs that are English is my first language, that are accessible. Platforms that are accessible to those of us who are empire builders, who are entrepreneurs, who are building something out of nothing, right? To be able to create something from nothing from just the knowledge in our head is really incredibly valuable. And so LMS used to be a term, learning management system used to be a term, an institutional term. Big companies could do that. And now in companies or, 2-person companies or 5-person companies can now have these same functionalities and capabilities, which is just wonderful and such a blessing.
It really is. And I can't wait to nerd out on all this stuff in future videos. I mean, I've got so many good questions for you about like, oh my gosh, it's like, and you could just ask, I could ask you like a million questions about publishing a book. Even the process of writing a book has been way different this year than it was previous to me being in Empire Builders Mastermind. I was writing in a totally different way. My expectations were totally different. The resources that I found through the program, much like people would find through the Empire Builders Masterclass, like I didn't know where to look for an editor, and now I've got Karen Hunsinger, just like, the perfect match.
Yes. And how do you know, right? I mean, all the time I'll say, where did you find your editor? And they'll say, I found them on X platform, or they were my neighbor and they taught English for 30 years. And it's like, well, they might be fantastic, but the chances are like, what are the chances your small town is going to get hit by an asteroid, right? It's probably the same.
Might be.
They might be similar. 1 in 8 billion. I don't know.
I drastically underestimated how important that relationship is.
Yeah.
I really
well,
did.
And I actually, because I am now saying I'm kind of a gateway drug, right? It's like I don't do a lot. I don't feel like I do a lot, but I'm a gateway drug. It's like, oh, I got a guy, I got a guy, I got a guy, I got a gal, right? And so I was thinking the other day, like how important that relationship was. And I sent a note to one of my original editors who was like a legit, traditionally published trained editor who took my manuscript and made it everything that it could possibly be by honoring my voice, by encouraging and inspiring me. And this will be a conversation we'll have in a future video too, like that relationship and how important it is. But finding the right person who sees your potential in a way that you can't see it yet, and then helping you get to that place, in this case with my book. Like that's such a beautiful relationship that I was like, what's your current mailing address? Like I want to send you, in my words, which I know you'll edit and send back to me. Haha. Right. Like, tell me how I could have said this better. But a great editor keeps your voice, but puts a polish on them so that the read is pleasurable for the reader. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought an editor like made sure there were no typos.
Yeah.
Took out the mistakes, but there's so much more to that.
It's the art.
It's the art of that, of the editorial process that really makes all the difference. So
yeah.
Anyway.
I never would have understood that. I never would have experienced that the same way. And I never would have met Karen had it not been for the program. And I hope that one of the things we can bring to people in that come to EBMc for learning and for experience is to help them find those resources, right? So it's all right there, and it's just wonderful that it's at the tip of your fingers. And I don't really know of anywhere else where it exists in this way at this level and with these types of people. And that's just such a phenomenal thing. So I'm grateful that you built this amazing empire and that you can now share all of that with such a broad audience. It's amazing.
Well, it's my pleasure. And it's why I think I'm here, right? It wasn't to build an empire for myself. It was to figure out and make all the mistakes and then just pick myself up and keep going. And then when someone asks me, how did you do that? How do you do that? What's my recipe? I can be like 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, a whole stick of butter.
Put 2 in there.
Okay, 2 sticks of butter. I don't know what we're making, but it sounds delicious already just with these first 3 ingredients. And that's the whole point, is if you have a recipe and then you have the chef who's made that recipe over and over again right next to you, along with other people that are learning and sharing their same information, it's just magical. It's even more magical than when I said, all right, I'll have a mastermind. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Right.
Look what you've done.
Well, yes. And that's the kind of the magic of it too, right? As you said, you have an intention, like I want to do something, and then you follow the breadcrumbs and you pay attention to the results you're getting and you adjust and you don't quit and you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And so maybe at some point we'll have a kind of the story of the Empire Builders Mastermind, how it's gone from the first year, because building a mastermind is a great income stream for people. And I've learned a lot. I put mine in place with some thought process, but then I sure have learned a lot in these last 4 years.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure this last year, and I'm excited about next year. And I'm so thrilled that you've been able to build this amazing program, and that we're able to share all of this with the world now. And it's going to be great. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you guys go to empirebuildersmasterclass.com and see all the crazy stuff that Honorée and I are talking about, because we're not making it up. It really exists. Yeah. And I'm sure that, we would love to hear from you. So send us a message, let us know you're there and that you're checking things out.
Leave a comment.
Yeah.
What is it? Absolutely. What am I supposed to say? Like and share and ring the bell? Are we supposed to say ring the bell, click the bell so you get notified when there are new episodes? There's something about that.
I need to take lessons for my kids before we do these. I think it's going to be share, like, and subscribe.
Oh, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends.
Exactly.
And start thinking, what's the first income stream you'd want to build? And then go do some shopping. I buy my unsponsored unsponsored, I get my coffee from the Green Coffee Company in Green, Texas, Grune, and their little tab says do some shopping.
Does it really?
I'm like, yes.
I love that.
So I'm like, 5 bags, please send them now. Please send the magic beans now. I need to be coffee. Yes, that's what I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, it really is. It's really good. And I love that their approach, right? It's
do some shopping.
It makes you want to go do that.
Yes. Yes. And their coffee names are fun, right? There's Texas pecan, but my mother-in-law likes Jamaica Me Crazy. It's their Jamaican coffee blend. Nice. Yeah. So anyway, this is an unsponsored ad for Green Coffee Company, who I adore. So, and I'm glad they're keeping me caffeinated. Thanks, Lucas.
We'll have to get a link and put it down in the comments so that if anyone wants to check them out, you guys can find them. And if you're watching this or listening and you're interested in finding out more about Honorée or me or Empire Builders Masterclass or the Empire Builders Mastermind, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us in the links down below, and stay tuned because we got a whole bunch of really cool content coming to you guys shortly. So
coming your way. Thank you, Mr. Lucas.
Talk to you guys soon. Thanks.